Let's talk about Max Verstappen. 17 years old, he comes into Formula One, the youngest ever driver. He was karting 2 years ago.
He's obviously a very talented young man. I think age is irrelevant.
Everybody wants to see how a young boy of 17 copes with the pressure, copes with the speed of a Formula One car. I think the guys and the people who criticize him because of his age, those people didn't know Max.
Max Verstappen isn't just a driver, he's a force of nature on four wheels. But in a career already started with jaw-dropping moments, there's one that stands head and shoulders above the rest. A moment so audacious, so brilliant that it sent shockwaves through the entire motorsport world. It's November 13, 2016, and we are at the legendary Autódromo José Carlos Paes in Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is the penultimate round of the 2016 Formula One World Championship. Nico Rosberg, the cool, calculated German, is leading the championship by 19 points over his teammate and rival Lewis Hamilton. Now, 90 points might not sound like much, but in F1 terms, it's a pretty comfortable cushion. To put it in perspective, even if Hamilton won the last two races, Rosberg could still claim the title by finishing second in both. The Mercedes car that season, the W07 Hybrid, was an absolute beast of a machine. How dominant, you ask? Well, out of the 19 races so far that season, Mercedes had won a staggering 17. That's a win percentage of 89.5%, making it statistically the second most dominant car in F1 history. Only the legendary McLaren MP4/4 from 1988, driven by Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, had a better record. The W07 wasn't just winning races, it was rewriting the history books. Despite Mercedes' iron grip on the season, Red Bull still managed to sneak in a couple of wins, and a big part of that was thanks to the new wonder kid Max Verstappen. This kid was something else.
First, I'm very happy with the chance they've given me. We're racing for a top team now, so that was always the plan. And from now on, it's just, getting used to a new car. It will come race by race, and I'm definitely gonna enjoy it.
In his very first race for Red Bull at the Spanish Grand Prix earlier that year, it did the unthinkable. The two Mercedes drivers Hamilton and Rosberg were so focused on each other that they ended up crashing out on the very first lap.
Hamilton's onto the grass, and Hamilton's had a massive crash, and he's crashed into his teammate. The two Mercedes come together.
Young Max seized the opportunity and claimed his maiden F1 victory. At just 18 years and 228 days old, he became the youngest winner in F1 history. That was a grand entrance. This Dutch teenager was just only in his second F1 season, but he was already causing quite a stir. He had shown flashes of brilliance in his debut season with Toro Rosso in 2015, including a couple of impressive fourth-place finishes. But it was his aggressive, no-holds-barred driving style that was really turning heads and ruffling a few feathers. In fact, just 2 weeks before Brazil, at the Mexican Grand Prix, Verstappen had gotten into a bit of a tiff with four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. And by tiff, I mean Vettel went on an expletive-laden radio rant.
He has to let me go. He has to let me go.
Okay, copy, stay calm.
Move! Move, for sake. That's what he is. I mean, am I the only one? Or are you not seeing what I'm seeing?
It was clear that Verstappen was earning a reputation as a fierce, sometimes rash competitor. But was he just aggressive? Or was there something more? Something special? As we rolled into qualifying on Saturday, the tension was high. Hamilton, knowing he needed nothing short of a win to keep his title hopes alive, put in an impressive lap to claim pole position. Rosberg lined up second, but lurking just behind him fourth was our young Dutch friend Max Verstappen. The stage was set for a showdown. As Sunday dawned, the skies opened up. Rain poured down, turning the already challenging Interlagos circuit into a treacherous water park. For some drivers, this was a nightmare. For others like Hamilton, it was an opportunity. And for one young Dutchman, it was about to become a playground. As the cars lined up on the grid, the rain intensified. The start was delayed, and when the race finally began, it was behind the safety car. Fans groaned. But little did they know this was just setting the stage for one of the most dramatic races in recent memory. When the safety car finally pitted after 7 laps, it was game on. Verstappen, showing the audacity that would become his trademark, immediately pounced. It dispatched Kimi Raikkonen's Ferrari with a move so bold, so precise it left commentators gasping. This kid wasn't here to make up the numbers, he was here to race. But the drama was only just beginning. On lap 13, Marcus Ericsson's Sauber aquaplaned and crashed. This brought out a safety car again. In the ensuing pit stop chaos, Verstappen managed to switch to intermediate tires and lost only 1 position. It looked like a masterstroke, until it wasn't. As the race progressed, the rain intensified. Suddenly, those intermediate tires didn't look like such a smart choice. Verstappen, realizing his error, had to pit again for full wet tires, dropping him all the way down to 16th place. Game over, right? Wrong, dead wrong. With 16 laps to go, Verstappen found himself in 16th place. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. It was as if someone had flipped the switch and suddenly we weren't watching a Grand Prix anymore. We were watching a masterclass in wet weather driving. Verstappen began to carve through the field like a hot knife through butter. He was taking lines that shouldn't have been possible, finding a grip where there was none. In just 1 lap, he made up 4 places. Then he pulled off a move around the outside of Valtteri Bottas at turn 3 that had just dropped in the paddock. But it wasn't done, not by a long shot. Verstappen continued his charge, dispatching driver after driver with moves that defied belief. He passed his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, then Danny Fiat, and then Esteban Ocon. It was like watching a video game, except this was real life, with real consequences if things went wrong. As the laps ticked down, the impossible started to seem possible. Could Verstappen actually make it to the podium from 16th place? Surely not. But then he passed Nico Hülkenberg from 6th, then Sebastian Vettel for 5th, leaving the 4-time world champion helpless on the grass. With just a handful of laps remaining, Verstappen was in 4th place, having gained 12th position in as many laps. This was unheard of. Speaking of unheard of, you know what else shouldn't go unnoticed? This channel. Hit that subscribe button, it's totally free. Thanks. As the final laps approached, Verstappen had one more target in his sight, Sergio Perez in 3rd place. With 2 laps to go, he made his move. It was clinical, it was precise, and it was successful. Max Verstappen had done the impossible. He had climbed from 16th to 3rd in just 16 laps in some of the most challenging conditions imaginable. When the checkered flag fell, Lewis Hamilton took the win, keeping his championship hopes alive. Nico Rosberg finished 2nd, maintaining his point lead, but all eyes were on the 3rd step of the podium. Max Verstappen had put in a drive for the ages, one that would be talked about for years to come. To truly appreciate the magnitude of Verstappen's achievement, you need to take a look at his teammates. In the same car on similar tires, his teammate Daniel Ricciardo could only manage to climb from 12th to 8th. Verstappen finished the full 10 seconds ahead of him. It was a gap that spoke volumes about the young Dutchman's exceptional talent. This drive drew comparisons to some of the greatest wet weather performances in F1 history. Ayrton Senna had done it in 1993, where he went from 5th to 1st on the opening lap. Michael Schumacher at Barcelona in 1996, where he handed the title Regenmeister. Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone in 2008, where he won by over a minute in treacherous conditions. And now, Max Verstappen at Brazil in 2016. In the aftermath of the race, the paddock was abuzz with talks of Verstappen's performance. Even his rivals couldn't help but be impressed. Sebastian Vettel, who had been so furious with Verstappen just 2 weeks earlier, admitted, "It's quick. It was quicker than all of us today." But perhaps the highest praise came from 3-time world champion Niki Lauda.
Verstappen was outstanding. The way he passed everybody, unbelievable. The way he passed, impressive. But I mean, I knew the guy's good, but he proved it again to everybody what he can do.
As the F1 circus packed up and headed to Abu Dhabi for the season finale, the title battle between Hamilton and Rosberg was still the main story. But underneath that narrative, a new story was emerging. The story of a young driver who had announced himself as a future champion in the most emphatic way possible. In the years that followed, Max Verstappen would go on to fulfill that promise, becoming one of the most formidable drivers on the grid. But for many fans, it was that wet Sunday afternoon in Sao Paulo where the legend of Max Verstappen truly began.